Buying a house can feel, well, just super overwhelming, right? Like this giant, complicated puzzle. But what if we could just walk through it together, step by step, using a real house as our guide? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to pull back the curtain on the whole home buying process, and we're going to do it by following the journey of one specific house, a classic Victorian at 961 Hanover Street. Okay, let's get into it.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, the fun part, finding that perfect house. Then we get real about what it's actually worth. We'll talk about getting your finances lined up, doing your homework, which is crucial, crafting an offer that wins, and then finally looking ahead to your next chapter.
All right, first up, finding the one. You know how it starts. Our journey begins right where most do these days, scrolling online. It's that moment when you're swiping through what feels like a million listings, and then boom, one just stops you in your tracks.
Come on, we've all been there, right? That late-night scroll through the real estate apps, imagining your life inside those perfectly staged photos. That is exactly where this story starts, with a property that has some serious curb appeal.
Okay, so here she is, 961 Hanover Street in Daly City, California. This is our case study. The listing shows this beautifully updated Victorian built way back in 1922. It's on the market for $825,000. You get 4 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, and just under 1,500 square feet. I mean, it's got character, it's got charm, but let me tell you, that list price, that's just the beginning of the story.
Okay, so you're in love with the house. Happens to the best of us. But now we got to get serious. What is it actually worth? Because the asking price is really just the seller's opening number, not necessarily what the house will actually sell for.
And the main tool we use for this is something called a comparative market analysis, or CMA for short. This is where your agent basically becomes a detective. They dig into recent sales of really similar homes, right there in the same neighborhood, to figure out a realistic price range. It's all about taking the emotion out of it and basing your offer on cold, hard data.
Think of it this way. A home's value isn't just some number pulled out of thin air. It's set by what other buyers, people just like you, were willing to pay for homes just like it, sometimes just a few weeks ago. The market itself sets the price, and a CMA is how we listen to what it's telling us. So how does this actually work in practice? I mean, no two houses are exactly the same, right? So what an agent does is they take a recently sold home nearby, a comp, and they make adjustments. Let's say the comp has a brand new kitchen, but our house doesn't. They'll adjust the comp's price down. But if our house, 961 Hanover, has a bigger yard, they'll adjust the price up. They do this for a bunch of features to get to a really accurate value for the home you want.
But here's the thing you got to remember. It's not just about plugging numbers into a spreadsheet. As one agent I know says, it's an art more than a science for sure. It takes real professional judgment, a deep feel for the local market to know exactly what something like a renovated bathroom is actually worth to buyers in that specific neighborhood.
All right, so you found the house, you got a handle on what it's worth. Next up, money. It's time to get your financial ducks in a row. You absolutely cannot make a serious offer without this step.
So let's make this real. For 961 Hanover, once you add up the mortgage, the interest, property taxes, you're looking at an estimated monthly payment of around $4,500. Seeing that number, that's the first step to really understanding if this home truly fits into your life and your budget.
So how do you get there? Well, it's basically a 4-step process. First, you're going to review your credit. Then you'll start gathering all those fun financial documents. Pay stubs, tax returns, you know the drill. Next, you talk to a lender to figure out your options. And finally, the most important step, getting that pre-approval letter. Seriously, this thing is your golden ticket. It proves to the sellers that you're a serious buyer who can actually get the deal done.
Okay, huge news. Your offer got accepted. This is amazing, right? But hold on, don't pop the champagne just yet. Now the real work begins. This is called the due diligence period, and it's where you do your homework to make absolutely sure there are no scary or expensive surprises hiding inside that house.
So in a place like California, the timeline is pretty standard. Once you're in contract, the seller has about a week to give you their disclosures. That's a big pile of paperwork detailing everything they know about the house. Then you get what's called a contingency period, usually about 17 days, to do your own investigations. Think of these contingencies as your safety net. They're your legal way to back out of the deal if you find something you don't like.
So what are we actually doing during this time? Well, here's your checklist. At the bare minimum, you're going to get a professional home inspection to check all the big stuff, the foundation, the roof, the plumbing. You'll also want a pest inspection, especially for an older home.
You'll review the title report to make sure the ownership is clean and check with the city to verify permits for any work that's been done. This is your one chance to uncover any potential deal breakers.
And now for the main event, making an offer that actually wins. Because in a market as hot as Daly City, this is where strategy is everything.
First things first, you got to know what you're up against. The real estate site Redfin gives Daly City a compete score of 78 out of 100. They call that very competitive. What does that mean for you? It means you should expect that any good house is going to get multiple offers, and you need to be ready to move fast.
And here is maybe the most important piece of info for your offer strategy. On average, homes in Daly City sell for 5% above the asking price. So for our house, 961 Hanover, listed at $825,000, the data is telling us that it could easily sell for over $866,000. You have to know that going in. And check this out. This table breaks it down even more. Your average home sells for that 105% or 5% over list, and it takes about 23 days. But hot homes, the really desirable ones like our renovated Victorian, they're selling for 113%. That's 13% over list, and they're gone in just 13 days. That's the game you're playing for a house like this.
Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From that first moment you saw the house online to the nitty-gritty of crafting a winning offer. Let's wrap this up and look toward the finish line.
Look, I know the home buying process can feel like a lot, but it is absolutely a journey you can navigate. When you break it down into these clear, manageable steps, finding, valuing, financing, inspecting, and offering, you can turn what feels like a purely emotional decision into a smart, strategic one. You can move forward with total confidence.
And there you have it. That's really the playbook for how you approach buying a house like 961 Hanover Street. By being prepared, by doing your homework, and by having a clear strategy. If this specific house caught your eye and you want to know more about it, or even just about the buying process in general, go ahead and send a text to 415-944-4477. Thanks for tuning in for This Explainer.